You ever heard of ladybird deed for people that's got they got.
John, we've been doing ladybird deeds for a long, 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 long time. John, we're a big believer in ladybird deeds. For the other listeners out there, ladybird deed is a tool to avoid probate on real estate here in the state of Florida. It might be your home, your vacant lot, your vacation home, your commercial property. It works on all forms of real estate, and we can use a ladybird deed to avoid probate even if there's a mortgage on the property. So ladybird deed states that if you were to sign one, John, it would state that as long as John is alive, it is his property to do with as he pleases. But when John passes away, the property would automatically go to his children. No headaches, no hassles, no probate. John, does that answer your question for you?
Yeah, that was. I just wanted to help say something to see how people go about things. And one other question, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
Social Security. We're going to hook my wife up to 64. Well, we're going to do it because she didn't really work a long time, but they seem like they're giving us the runaround.
So, John,
what do you think
we don't do Social Security. I don't have any information about that or expertise in it, so I won't be able to help you with that, John. But I wish you the best of luck on it. And by the way, John, Robert, I had a client last week call me up and say, Tom, I called several lawyers around where I live and asked them about a ladybird deed. None of them knew what it was. So it's not widely known out there, but it's a great tool. It's getting to be more and more well known these days. But sometimes I look at a ladybird deed I did 10, 15 years ago and think, man, I was way ahead of my time on these.
You are indeed, and I always, when someone comes to my office, it's like one of the first things I look at, because obviously you're doing it for estate planning, avoiding probate, avoiding creditors. When I'm looking at it to avoid Medicaid recovery. And when I see some old ones, I'll say, oh, I'll click on it. And that was ones that we did a long time ago. Mm-hmm. And people just don't understand the value of it. And, like you and I always talk about, we always charge fair prices, and it comes down to the attorney. Could, somebody put the house in a trust? Yes, it could be very, very expensive. But we could do a ladybird deed for, a third of the cost, if that, and give them the same benefit.
Robert, I've been a lawyer for over 40 years, and I can still remember as a very young lawyer, the first time I heard about this ladybird deed and saw one, thinking, wow, that's really great. Does it work? And so I remember calling a elder law, not an elder, but a real estate attorney that had been doing this for a long, 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 long time. I said, look, does this work? He goes, yeah, it works, Tom. So I've been using it for a long time, and it's a great tool for avoiding probate on real estate and a simple tool for avoiding probate on real estate.
It is. It's the most efficient way you can do it, and it is also cost effective.
By the way, when you do a ladybird deed, if you do a ladybird deed today and you state, when I pass away, this home automatically goes to my 3 kids, for example, and 6 months from now you want to change your mind and leave it to just 2 kids, or 6 months from now you want to sell it or refinance it, you are going to be able to do so without your children's knowledge, signature, or consent. So it's a great way to avoid probate and maintain complete control over your piece of property. Robert, tell listeners again what they might call you about today.
So if somebody had a loved one that was in a hospital or rehab and they were trying to figure out what the next steps were, I would be the person to call. Or if they just were curious about what Medicaid is and how we can help people save money and protect it to their family. So when we do Medicaid planning, Tom, my goal is to replicate that estate plan that you created for them. And so they know there is a definite plan in place. It's going to look very similar to the estate plan that you created, and they're not going to have to spend all that money for cost of care. That becomes the big thing, because if you're a married couple and you're not going to qualify for Medicaid and you're spending $12,000 a month at a facility, and then God forbid the person dies, the spouse at home has spent her entire life savings and has to live the rest of her life almost at a poverty level. So our goal is to protect